I just bought this 1945 Farmall H tractor. Lord knows how long this thing's been sitting. She's a little rough around the edges, but I got her for 600 bucks. Let's get it running. Howdy doody, welcome back to the ranch. Another rescue mission today, and I don't have a lot of time, so I'm gonna keep this brief so I can get on the road. But this will be the maiden voyage for the Trail King 10-ton, I think it is, trailer that you guys haven't seen at this point, and I'm not too happy or keen on the fact that I am hauling with this trailer today. However, I don't have any options. I sold all my other ones, and then my next closest option would be this one behind the Peterbilt, but that's overkill for what we're getting. Today we're rescuing a actually I don't even know, 50s? I think it's a 1950s.
That's the wrong number!
Farmall H tractor. So let's fire this thing up. Hopefully my battery's held enough to charge. It's actually been sitting here for a minute. Get on the road and get trucking here. I need new batteries. Bad. You remember when I bought this truck, the only thing that was wrong with it, according to the seller, which is pretty much rang true, is the fact that the batteries were dead. They're still dead.
Trying to stay there.
That's a cool looking tractor. This, like I said, is a 1945 Farmall H. Pretty iconic piece of iron here. What all the farmers used to say is you're not a farmer unless you have a International Farmall M, which is the step up from the H. The H is the middle of the road, and there was also the A, which is a little bit smaller than this, a lot bit smaller than this. All in all, it's a pretty light tractor. I think it's, I don't know, 2,000 pounds, somewhere around there. But this one is from 1945, and I found it just on the border of PA and Ohio. I don't know anything about it, neither did the guy that sold it to me. He told me that he bought the property and it came with the property. He had no use for it, so he was selling it. Supposedly, he had it running a couple years ago. He was saying like 2 or 3 years ago, but I didn't ask any questions. I just saw that it was a Farmall and it was cheap, and I said, sold, brother, sold, brother. So we're gonna take this thing step by step, see if we can't get it running today. All in all, these things are really, really simple to work on. I have never owned one of these Farmall tractors. I've had plenty of Cub Cadets, but I've never had an actual A, H, or M. They are super cool looking, so I figured I needed one, you know. But here's the deal. It's sitting on my trailer, which if you're familiar with the channel, you have not seen this thing yet. This is a 10-ton Trail King electric brake trailer, equipment trailer, and she's got some issues, and I need this thing tomorrow because I'm going to be working on this thing. The deck is twisted, and I am calling in a favor for some rather large equipment to see if I can't get it to see if I can't get it to straighten out. So I got to get this thing off of here. It's been pretty wet here. It's been a rainy fall so far, so I'm gonna leave it on the trailer since it's nice and dry up there. Pretty wet down here, so I'm gonna leave it up there, see if we can't get it running and I can just drive it off the trailer. If it's taking a little bit longer than expected, then I'll grab my excavator and just kind of guide her down. But let's take a quick little walk around this thing, see what we got. All right, here you have it. 1945 Farmall H. She's a cute little thing, but it's rough. I mean, it needs tires for sure, fronts. The rears, I'm gonna see if these things won't hold some air. They don't look the worst. They're definitely old. They definitely got some dry rot, but I think they're gonna take air just fine and be good for what I need it for now. There's a 12-volt battery in here that is very dead. That's from '07, so I don't really know what that means. He said he had it running a couple years ago. Maybe that's the original battery that was in it, and he was just kind enough to leave me with a core. I don't know. That's a 6-volt system, so that's a 6-volt starter there running down to a magneto. So the only wires that you really have on this tractor are the spark plug wires, a grounding wire for the magneto, and then a wire to start it. Some of these came with lights up here. This one does not. It's pretty bare bones. And there's also a 6-volt generator up there for charging. Most everyone that owns these tractors updates them to a 12-volt system because they are pretty hard to start in cold weather, as we have here in Ohio. So they update it to a 12-volt system to give it a little bit of oomph. My plan is for today just to throw 12 volts at it to start it. That will not hurt it. The generator, if it does charge, will not charge that 12-volt battery. So if I do get it running, when I do get it running, we'll convert it to a 12-volt system. But that magneto is gonna run on its own because it's a magneto. And all we're gonna be using the 12 volts for is just to turn it over so it'll fire off. Let's see if we can't pop this hood off and dig into a little bit of what we got going on here. I have not looked at this thing at all, so I really don't know what to expect here. Right off the bat, I'm seeing that I'm missing my belt for the generator, but again, I don't care about that right now. Get this air cleaner off. I guess I could unchain the thing so I don't have to step over my chains, but I'm a little too excited. I want to get this hood off. Powerhouse. Let's get you in here. Okay, so we got a 4-cylinder gas engine. I don't know anything about these, but this is obviously our little carburetor that came on most Farmall equipment from back in this day. Here's our VIN tag, 189784, which I already went ahead and looked that up. This is a 1945 Farmall H. Got our air cleaner here. Exhaust, obviously. Looks like throttle linkage running up to here. Gear shift. I don't know how many gears this has. I'm going to assume 4 with reverse, maybe 3 with reverse. Here's our magneto. This will have a coil under here, just like our TD14 over there. Runs up to a generator, voltage regulator, and then our plug wires here. Just a little itty bitty starter down here with 1 direct wire. So this is old enough where there wasn't even a starter solenoid, which is interesting. This will be oil filter here. But where is my dipstick? Okay. Oh, that looks broken.
Sorry about that, sport.
I think this should look like that. I believe this is how you check your oil. I'm not positive. I don't think there's a dipstick on here. I'll look, but I'm pretty sure you just check it by turning these and seeing if you got oil in the pan. And you got your fill cap here. I also noticed I got a pretty steady leak going. That would be gear oil. This Smells fine, but it looks like it's coming from right here. Yep. And I'm sure if that's been leaking like that for any amount of time, we probably don't have much left. So we're gonna have to look into that. Okay, we got coolant up here. Oh yeah, full. Good green stuff too. Looks really clean. Definitely a different story from the Cat 933, which I still can't use because I can't find a drain plug for it. More on that in another episode. Fuel tank. Fingers crossed that we're not rusty and crusty. Okay. That is honestly surprisingly decent. I mean, there's surface rust, but I have definitely seen much worse. Let's look at our fuel bowl here. Here's to hoping I can get that functional. That's looking pretty grimy. I'm probably going to have to replace that. Yeah, it looks rusty. We'll look into that later. And we'll peel this oil bath air cleaner off, get new oil in there. My fan belt looks pretty good. Like I said, no generator belt. Mother Mary! We got a little bit of an exhaust leak going on. Is that normal? Looks like they already patched this up once before. But that manifold is shot, to say the least. All right, let's see if we can't get this thing to turn over. I'm gonna get these chains off of here so I don't have to step over them any longer. And we'll see if we can't get this thing turning over. Okay, before I just run to the starter and try turning this thing over with the starter, I'm gonna see if I can't get a wrench on this crank pulley. I wouldn't really be able to get it on the bolt because it's sunk in. You can see that in there. So I'm gonna try grabbing it where that pin is, to see if I can't crank it over that way. I'll be delicate, and if it doesn't work, then we'll try the starter and just see if that goes. I'm also really missing my big crescent wrench at this point. RIP, lost it on the TD14 project. Oh, I forgot I still had my tools sitting here. Although I think my tire's gonna be in the way. All right, let's see if I can't turn the wheel. Give me enough room. Oh, it's like there's no compression. Yeah, she's free. Turns over just fine. I was joking, but honestly, that is a concern at this point. That really felt like there was no compression at all. Maybe it isn't a good idea working on it up here. I keep having to jump up and down and getting a workout in at least. Before I forget, crack this petcock and see if I got oil in here. This is the higher of the two though, and if I want to check the lower one, the little wing nut is gone, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to. It is concerningly tight. Concerningly? Is that a word? I don't know what's open and closed, but regardless, nothing's coming out. It's also reverse thread, which is safe to assume that's how the other one got broken off. Probably because these screw into the pan, and then you have your petcock that loosens the other way in order to like see if there's fluid in it. I don't know. I'm just speculating at this point. Uh-oh. Let me show you how this works. So here's your petcock. This hole is facing downwards, and when you open this end, it lets fluid come through here to drain out. Baling wire makes a good dipstick. Okay, there is oil down there, but whoa. That is old. Okay, I can't really remember where I left off because I went to the shop to grab some oil and I got a little distracted by something that I'll share with you guys on the next episode here. Bottom line is I'm low on oil, so I want to fill this thing up. So I took some used motor oil from Frank the Pete on the last service that we did to him, and we're going to top this thing off. That way I know that I'm at least, full of oil. This is decent oil, by the way, and decent oil is going to be better than no oil. And then once we verify that this is running and yada yada yada, then we'll do a full service on it. But for now, she's just going to get some old stuff. And the way we're going to do this is just fill her up until she starts coming out of that petcock down there. All right, pal. Drink up. And this is the low end. I could be going for the high end, but I already have this one off, so. Up, here we go. Just soak that into the trailer. It'll be good for the deck boards. Just pretend you didn't see that, Greta.
How dare you?
So I forgot to mention, this is one of the first things that I noticed about this here unit is up here in the cab, per se, this is supposed to be like a gauge cluster. You got an ammeter here and like an on-off switch for maybe the magneto? Being on-off switch, what I mean by that is a grounding switch, because all the magneto needs is whether it's grounded and it's off or it's not grounded and it's on. That's the only thing it needs. I think there's a bracket or something that goes around here for a starter switch. Maybe down here for a starter switch. And all you're doing is running power to your starter. Like I said, there's no solenoid or anything. So I think we're just gonna make sure we're in neutral, which we are, and just throw power at the starter because we don't have any sort of switch or anything to do so. So I'm gonna get these vines out of the way. Looks like these wires, by the way, that I do have, one is my ground for the magneto and the other is the back feed for generator to battery for charging purposes. Both are disconnected at this time, which is fine. We just want to see if this thing is going to turn over. Throw ground on, throw power to it, see what happens. Nothing. Simple. That is so funny that's all you have to do is throw power to that one terminal and you're good to go. All right, she turns over. So before we get too carried away, we're gonna check the magneto for spark and then we'll move into fuel. Again, I don't know how long it's been since this thing has ran. Apparently it's been a couple years, but I'm gonna take a guess and say that we're probably gonna have to open that magneto up and file some points. Hopefully that's all we have to do. So let's see if we got spark. All I'm doing here for sake of demonstration.
Why?
Throwing a screwdriver in here and grounding it out to here. So that's where we're looking for spark. I have my ground wire for the magneto just kind of dangling in the wind over there. And let's turn this thing over, see if we got it. I hear clicking like it might be trying, but I don't see anything.
Nothing.
All right, not the end of the world. Let's pop this thing open. We just got 4 screws here. That's where the coil is. But let's start with our points first. See what we look like in here. Cap looks okay, not the worst. Just a little dirty. Rotor looks fine. And if this is anything like the TD14, which I'm pretty sure this is the same magneto that's on the TD, behind these two screws we should have our points. God, these vines are everywhere. Why am I not using my impact? Questions I ask myself on a regular basis. Why am I doing what I'm doing? That one comes up pretty often. There's our points. If you look closely, you can see that corrosion sitting in there. That's what we're after. We got to clean that out. This file on my Leatherman is pretty intense, so I want to be careful here, but I'm just gonna lightly go back and forth, flicker off a couple times, see if we got spark here. Nothing. All right, I sanded her up some more. Take two. Okay, I don't know if you could see that or not, but we have a very, very faint spark. Also, I should have checked before, but it looks like our needle might be moving. We're gonna keep an eye on that. We might have oil pressure. Let's keep sanding. Oh yeah, we got spark. It's not the best, but it is spark. Get out of here, dirt daubers. All right, how about meow? Got it. Hopefully that picked up on camera. Or plug wire back on. Good to go. Okay.
Okay.
So
So,
next on the list is obviously fuel, and once we have that, we should be good to go. As far as the carburetor goes, I don't know. If they had it running in the last couple years, it shouldn't be all that bad. But the choke is free, and like I didn't even have to tap it or anything. She free, so that's good news. As far as the rest of it, from the outside, it looks pretty rusty and crusty. You know, it's got some moss growing on it and stuff, but we're not going to do anything with this yet. What I'd like to do, since the fuel tank isn't horrible, put some gas in it, see if I can't get it flowing from the tank to the carb, and then we'll go from there. But let's start with the tank first. And in order to do that, I think I'm going to yank this battery. This thing's junk anyway. Yeah, don't need that.
what are we?
I'm just pulling vines left and right out of this thing. Start with that for now. Nothing yet. Let's see if there's a petcock we got to turn here. Okay, more vines. What happens if we turn you? Nothing happens. So far, not so good. I should have soaked this stuff down with PB Blaster. It looks rusty and brittle. Just predicting my future here, getting everything. That's better. Whoop. There we go. It's glass, so we gotta be careful here. Oh wait, is this full of fuel? No way. It really didn't look like it. Don't break it. Okay, it's not full. Crusty. Crusty, crusty, crusty. But I think the petcock works. Let's try that. Yeah, maybe I spoke too soon. Definitely plugged up a bit. I bet you I can send a shot of air through there for now and get it freed up, and then we can pay more attention to it later. But for now, let's just get some air through there, clean this bowl up. Now with a little bit of pressure, it's flowing a little bit, but still not great. But also, look at this. They cut a hole in the screen, so there's no point in having that on there. But we're gonna put it together the way it is. All right, fuel on. I'm definitely leaking. I'm always leaking. All right, we're dripping, but that's as good as I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna order a new one of these, but for now, let's see if we still can't get fuel to the carb so we can at least get it running. So real quick, I'm just gonna pop this line off to see if I got fuel here. And as long as we do, we're gonna crank this thing over and see what happens. That actually came loose surprisingly well. So far I got nothing. That's not good. Oh, we got it. Now we'll let that fill up the bowl. I don't know what choke on and off is, so we're just gonna leave it how it is, crank it over, see what happens. Fuel is on. Battery is hooked up. My grounding wire is floating in the wind here, and to shut it off if it starts, I can just ground that wire. We are good to make some noise here. Let's see what happens. Whoa. Big backfire, but we got something. Okay. Muffler's on, even though we got a big hole in the exhaust. We're dripping out of the bowl, which is a good sign. That means we have fuel. I got leaking fuel and sparks flying at the starter, so that's great. Here we go. Wow. That is violent. My float is not floating. Let's see how much fuel dumps out of here. A lot. All right, I think we're to the point where we gotta take this bowl off and see what our float is doing. And I think, unfortunately, I'm losing daylight quick. I might have to do that in the morning. Let's at least get it off. Here's what we're dealing with. The bowl doesn't look terrible. I mean, it's obviously dirty, but not the worst. That little brass screw, whatever jet that is obliterated. Up here, our needle and seat seems to be free and working. I don't think I hear any fuel in there. Let's turn the fuel on again. Okay, there's our fuel. It seems to be holding. I'm wondering if it isn't bent too far up. Like, that seems like an awful lot of travel in order to get it to seal. I might adjust this float a little bit so it seals quicker, but the needle and seat seem to be needle and seating. Okay, good morning. It's actually the next day. Tractor's still on the trailer. I packed up for the night last night, walked in my house, and immediately thought to myself, you're an idiot. And I have those thoughts pretty often, which is concerning, but that's a whole nother story. Timing's off. I'm fairly certain it's just timing. It doesn't have anything to do with the carburetor. I mean, it might, but judging by the horrendously loud backfires as it was starting to try.
Put it in reverse, Terry! Put it in reverse! Oh, Lord! Lord!
I'm gonna say that as I was cleaning up my points and spinning over the engine, I didn't put it back together properly and my timing is off. That's my educated guess. So what we're gonna do is pull the magneto and start from top dead center and just get it back timed properly. And then I would imagine after I do that, we're gonna be good to go. So I'm gonna pull these spark plugs and then I'm gonna pull the magneto, get number 1 to top dead center, retime it, and we should be good. Wait a minute. No. No. I'm almost positive this is number 1.
He was number 1.
These plug wires are backwards. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. On my cap here, you can see there's a number 1. This is my number 1 plug wire and they have it running to number 4. And then this would be 3, 2, 1. I need this wire to be going to my number 1 cylinder, 2, 3, 4. So my firing order is listed right here, 1, 3, 4, 2. So let's redo this here. Okay. Let's try it this way, see what happens. If it's still unhappy, then I'll like I was saying before, I'll set everything to top dead center and retime it. But let's see if flopping around the plug wires the correct way is our answer to our problems. Fuel is on, although I think my tank might be empty at this point because of the leak. But let's just crank it over and see what happens. I got nothing. Take 2. I'm sorry, what? That's it? This thing is so quiet. I didn't even think it was running. You're joking. I got oil pressure. That is so quiet. I honestly did not even believe that it was running at first. That is wild. Huh. Look at her go. I'm probably running out of fuel. Wow. Unreal. You think my issue was the plug wires? That also, being that this thing sat for so long and those wires were completely messed up. I mean, put together bass backwards, if you will. I have my doubts that this thing was running a few years ago. I'm wondering if they threw some ether at it, heard it pop, and said, yeah, it runs. But who am I to judge? She runs now, that's for sure. Let's see if these tires are gonna hold air. Doubtful, but we could try. It's going. It's probably gonna blow up in my face, but it's going. Wow. All the tires are holding air. Not too shabby. All right, we're ready to get this thing off the trailer, which is a good thing because I am running out of time. All right, here's to hoping that my brakes work. Otherwise, we're about to go for a real ride here. All right, let's see if she'll start for us. All right, that should be reverse. It is. I don't know if we got brakes, son. We might. I just want to test them out here and straighten out. Okay, we might have some brakes. Also, I don't want to jinx myself, but it's running a lot better. Woo! Woo! We made it! We made it! We're running! Woo! Woo! She's running! Not well, but she is running. Wow. Farmer Mick at your service here on the Nock Ranch. We got a Farmall, baby. And she is a smoky one, that is for sure. But hey, my brakes work, my clutch works, all my gears work. Let's call that one a success. And there she goes. I should have pulled it into its permanent spot before it died. Well, I shouldn't say permanent. Say semi-permanent. But for now, I got to get to work on this trailer. Look at it smoking. That is a good looking tractor. I got to get out of here for now. We'll close this one out later. Maybe we'll do some more work on this episode. I got to kind of see where we're sitting at, but she needs work, but she runs and drives. Okay. So it's been some time, you know, it was fall, and now it's quickly and abruptly winter. Also a bit uninvited, I might add. Not necessarily ready for this type of weather, but here we are, we're in it, and I gotta close this video out. So there's one thing I want to do to this before I leave it to the next video, which there is going to be an upcoming video on this, but I'm leaking fuel out of the sediment bowl. So I went ahead and ordered another. This is the recommended part for this tractor. However, I was looking at it, they're a little different. One of these is not like the other. However, I think my top threads and my side is the same, I think. And with this little extension here, it should, you know, be relatively close enough. basically what I'm saying is, as long as this threads into the gas tank and this threads into my fuel line, then I'm gonna be happy with it. As you can see by this quite pretty sky, I must say, I'm running out of daylight. I'm gonna throw some wrenches on this thing, see if I can't peel it off, get this up there just so I'm not leaking anymore, and maybe we'll see if we can get a little cold start in before it's too dark. More good news, my tires actually held air, which is extremely surprising. But I'm gonna locate the fuel cap again here, just see if I have any fuel in the tank. Bone dry, as expected. This thing's been sitting, believe it or not, it's only been a couple weeks. But like I said, we quickly went from fall to winter. That was definitely enough time for this thing to leak out. There's still a little bit of fuel in the sediment bowl, but that shouldn't be an issue. Let's grab some wrenches. A little bit of PB blaster. Just predicting my future here, getting everything. Just to help her get it going. Sorry, I know I'm not giving the best camera angles here, but I am legitimately out of time. I gotta get this thing done before dark. My only deadline being this video, but I need to close this thing out. Gotta move on to the next one. I got another project sitting in the shop right now that you guys will see soon. It is a piece of equipment that you've already known about for a long time, but we've got some more things to do on it, that's all. Whew. If you're someone with poor circulation like me, the old windmill arms really gets the blood going. Torch also helps. Just don't light yourself on fire. I'm in between sizes here, like that's metric. Vice grips it is. There we go. All right. Whoa. Yep, that's filled with crap. Jeez. Can't believe that was still working. To clarify, it was working. Leaking, but still working. Oh, man. The sky is so pretty right now. Dang. Sorry, guys. I really wanted to fire this thing up in this video. Unfortunately, I got the wrong size fittings. This one off the old one is a fine thread. In order to screw into or adapt to my new sediment bowl, it's coarse, and my other fitting over there is also fine thread. Ah, man. I gotta buy some adapters. That fuel line honestly might be too long too, so I might need to do some bending or even just cutting and double flaring. I don't know, but what I do know is I'm out of time and I gotta get this video up, so we're gonna end it there. But don't be too disappointed. You're gonna be seeing this thing coming up very, very soon. I will be sure, especially with this bummer of an ending, I will be sure to get right on this thing. As soon as I get the current project out of the shop, we're gonna be firing this thing up and pulling this one in to do a full service on it. Then we're gonna decide what we need to do with this thing. Should we keep it around the ranch here and use it, or should we send it on down the line and use it to save up for another project? I'd love to know your guys' thoughts. We'll talk more about it, obviously, in the next one. As we dig into it and see what's really going on with this thing. My main concern at this point is all the smoke that was going on. I'm wondering if I got some tired rings. That's what I'm thinking at this point. But she did fire up relatively easy once the timing was right, so I got high hopes for this thing. If it's not me keeping it, someone else will be happy with it. Let me know how far you think we should take this thing. Should we pressure wash it off and give her a nice little paint job, I think we should at least do that much. She sure does deserve it. She's just a pretty old little tractor and she deserves some love, so while I got her, I plan on loving her. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed the episode. If you did, please do me a favor, like the video, share it, subscribe to the channel, all that fun stuff. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, the Tiki-Takis. And with that, I will see you all in the next one. We got a ton coming up on the channel. I can't even keep my eyes straight, to be honest. I got so much crap that I'm looking at. As you can see around the yard, we've got plenty that needs attention, and that's just what's sitting back here. And of course, if you flip around this way, it goes on that direction too. So we got plenty to do, plenty to come up on the channel. With that, I'll leave you all there. I hope you all enjoyed the video, but always remember, don't be afraid to grab that wrench, get after it yourself. We'll see you next time.